Understanding how to dose with edibles. But hey, what's up, everybody? It's Matthew, my real life TV 505, and I'm back here with Miss Teddi. Thank you, Miss Teddi. And we had done a shoot about 2 weeks ago now, probably 2 weeks ago today. And unfortunately, we had really good footage. We had a lot of great information. Unfortunately, during editing and uploading, there was errors, and original files got corrupted and can no longer weren't able to be recovered. So we get to have a second session. So that's the good news about it.
Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah, that's the fun about it. So we brought Miss Teddi by to our area today, and she gets to check it out on our neck of the woods. So welcome, Miss Teddi.
Well, thank you for having me again.
Yeah, well, thank you for being able to do this again. I understand you have a lot going on.
Oh, I'm out of the house.
Yeah, really, right? It gives you an opportunity to breathe.
Yeah. Perfect.
So we were just sitting here, kind of hanging out, and we were just rapping a little bit about edibles, talking about how distribution of the concentrate inside of a chocolate may not be as accurate as something that you would get out of like a dose from a solid candy or a brownie cookie or something of that sort, right? So those of you who know Miss Teddi, she's been with our community for a good amount of time. She's done a lot for it, brought a lot of education, and also wrote a book with some recipes in there as well, right?
Yes, sir.
And so, Miss Teddi, let's talk about that. Let's talk about how you got started. A little bit about the background. I know we rapped about that a couple weeks ago, so I already know about it. But we're gonna share it with everybody else.
It all started with a little plant because when we got our PPL, we started growing, and I was looking at them, and they looked just like a baby tomato plant.
Yes.
So I started looking up the nutritional value and started working on just the nutritional value because I was a foodie already, and so it took me about 6-7 months before I even thought maybe it's got medicinal value as well as the nutritional value. Started doing more research and found out how awesome and therapeutic that it can be using it raw. So my son, my husband, and a lot of people wouldn't try it because of the freshness, we'll say.
Okay.
And it started out more of I'm going to make you like raw cannabis one way or another. So that's how the first book got started. I started creating different raw cannabis treats to get them, hey, try this, see if you like this or see if you like that. Everyone said you need to start writing it, put down the recipes. And
you took down that one seed, grew your plant, and then planted these other seeds.
Yes.
Basically.
Yes. Yeah. Right. Exactly.
And you had to grow into a business that helped patients, that benefited patients. And tell me more about that.
Well, we did classes on juicing, and it got me more interested in CBD, and I started making my own medicine for me, my own oils, my own topicals, and we entered one of the topicals into the SE Awards, and it won for best CBD topical in the state of New Mexico. more people wanted it, and so we opened up a shop so they would have access to the terpene cream and our oils because we do terpene profiling
Yeah.
with a registered nurse in Las Vegas, Nevada. So we worked together with him and do terpene profiling, and they would come in, and if they had elements that they needed taken care of, but they didn't want the THC because some insurance companies,
They
you
want
can't
to take that.
some pain management, you can't have THC in your blood,
Mm-hmm.
and they didn't want to take the chance. Even you cannot explain to an 80-year-old that 0.3% THC
It's
is
gonna
not
get
going
juice.
to show up, but you just can't do it.
Yeah, they want to
So
see that
it's just-
0.00.
Yes,
yeah.
yes. So it's just easier to make something for them that doesn't have any THC in it, but
Yeah.
still put in a terpene that activates your CD1 and CD2 receptor. So we would go and add terpenes if they were fighting off cancer. We would put in myrcene and a few more anti-inflammatory terpenes, and then we would add in the other terpene to activate the CD1 and CD2 receptor.
So kind of like we talked about, like on the ride over here, was the extracting. So when you're extracting from these raw plants, you're taking basically the hemp and the CBD from this plant, right? And you're extracting that, and then you're extracting the terpene going back into that plant and extracting the terpene profile from it. Correct?
Basically, I was using the CBD isolate. So
Okay.
we extract that from the hemp stalk because the hemp stalk contains more CBD matter than any of the plant.
Okay.
And then we would use terpenes from food grade terpenes. That way they're not freaking anybody out. You know, when you say this myrcene is extracted from cannabis, once again,
Like,
it would throw
yeah.
the scene, so we get it from food grade terpenes because you can extract myrcene from mangoes, you can extract limonene from lemons, you can extract beta-carotene from black pepper,
which is all stuff we should be eating anyway.
Yeah, but so we have that extracted from the food, so there's absolutely no argument. It doesn't scare them away or anything like that. Yes,
it keeps it pretty organic. Yeah, that's nice.
And it gives you a chance to educate the people that you are what you eat,
Yeah. Which is true. I mean, I ate fast food for a long time and I was slow and sluggish and not 100%. But then when you do change your diet and you cut out a lot of those like sugars and like fast foods, fatty foods, stuff like that, you can notice a change in your energy. And when you start eating the vegetables and the fruits and things like that, like you said, the terpene profiles that are inside of that are what the medical benefit is to your body. So when you guys go out there and you're looking for your cannabis, one of the best ways to search for your cannabis is not by percent, it's by the terpene profile. And as we talked about in our ride over here, the nose knows. And explain that, like how the smell of that terpene.
Well, pregnant women, when they wake up, will have cravings. Okay, some of them crave
ice cream or something.
I was going a little more in depth. This red mud or dirt.
Oh, okay.
These women are craving dirt and they have no clue why. The dirt contains a fighting element that keeps off a bacteria in your stomach that only pregnant women and children get. This is why pregnant women and children crave dirt.
I've heard of that.
Or will eat dirt because it has a bacterial thing in it that'll fight off a certain stomach virus that only pregnant women and children get. So they can also crave lemon. We all know lemon helps nausea.
Lemonade.
So when they're pregnant and they crave the lemon, they're actually craving the myrcene and limonene because limonene helps with nausea.
And it's like that
helps
scent
with
that
with
they.
your appetite. Yes.
Yeah.
So your body is basically telling you
what it needs.
What it needs and what you need. So that's why you do more research on your body and you follow basically basic instincts. You know, when you're walking down a produce aisle,
that gut feeling thing.
when you're walking down a produce aisle and you see a fruit or a vegetable that you don't even know what it is, what's the first thing you do?
You pick it up, you squeeze it, you smell it.
And if it's not becoming to the nose, because it probably has a terpene in it that
you don't necessarily need.
Yeah, or that it affects you differently.
Okay.
Because alpha pine can make some people really angry. If they have a really strong cannabis strain that is high in alpha pine, it can make some people really angry.
And why is that?
The terpene, it's their body.
It's the chemical reaction that they have to it.
Yes, the terpene is the driving force of cannabis. So if your body does not need the alpha pine, which is uplifting and energy and it helps with respiratory, then it's going to give you too much energy. And it's almost like steroids.
So it's like an anxiety attack almost.
Yes,
yeah,
yes,
it's
exactly.
like a way up sativa, and you're like,
exactly.
oh shit, I don't know, I got all this energy, but fuck you. Like, okay.
And then there's some people can smoke a strain and say
it did nothing for them.
It didn't do anything, but it tested 38% THC. Why am I not feeling it? Well, because it might have terpenes in it that interact differently with you.
Yeah.
With your
that you
brain.
didn't necessarily look for.
Yeah.
So like, so when you go and shop for your cannabis, take the time to smell it, and if it's got that smell and you're like oof, and you can't live without it, it's talking to you. The nose knows there's a terpene in there speaking to your body speaking to you, telling you, hey, there's a terpene in there that we need. Smoke it up.
And then ask for the terpene profile if they have it. Look at the terpenes.
And the benefit of it.
And then that way there, if you go back and that certain strain is no longer available, you know that it's
find something with a similar
terpene profiling, so you could go with something that has a similar terpene profile, and it's still going to help. Not as perfect, but it's still going to help.
I've noticed that too, because that's why with some people it can affect you different. Like you can smoke a sativa and pass the fuck out. I'm one of those people. I smoke a sativa and I get sleepy as hell. But there's certain sativas I smoke that will make me goofy as hell. And then there's indicas that I'll smoke that won't knock me out whatsoever. It feels like they do absolutely nothing for me. Or then there's some indicas that alleviate all my pain or make me feel actually make me feel something in my head where I'm like, oh man, like damn, I felt like this since I was like 18 kind of feeling, But I guess it's just those different terpenes that are affecting me differently from each one of those plants, each one of those flowers that I tried. So, I mean, I know we talked about this on the ride over here too, about some people keeping a log about the cannabis that they consume, that they're using, and the terpene profile of it, so that way you can know what's worked for you. But Miss Teddi had another suggestion too, didn't you? Like not just keeping a log, but what else? Just the nose, right? Mm-hmm. Pretty much.
Just know your body. Make sure you know what medications you're on, because sometimes certain medications can keep your cannabis from coagulating in the liver properly. So it'll either interact with the cannabis or the cannabis will interact with it. No food, because that's what the terpenes are. So like I said, once again, if you're walking down the food aisle, if your body craves and loves certain fruits, those are the terpenes you're going to want to go for. And then it may not even be that. It may be like beta-carotene is one of my favorites. It's a wonderful anti-inflammatory. That's peppercorn. When I can't smell it in the bud, but when someone takes a hit and exhales, is when I can smell the beta-carotene. So there's just so many different ways to keep a log is because strains come and go.
Yeah.
So to keep a log on a strain is going to be ridiculous because there's so many different strains. So to keep a log on terpene,
that would make more sense.
Is going to be more feasible. So if you find a strain that you really like, do the research, find the terpenes, keep a log on the terpenes, and then you'll know.
So that's what I was meaning, like not just a log on as far as the flower that you consume, but the terpene profile of those.
So you can walk into a dispensary and say, I need something high in linalool and myrcene because I'm just not feeling it. I want to be sedated. So those are what you're going to get.
And the bud tenders usually are very well educated, and they know exactly what you're talking about when you mention something like that.
And if not, there's also leafly.com that everyone knows about. So a bud tender should know how to do research on their own. Mm-hmm. If the dispensary doesn't have the terpene profiling, they can kind of break it down. Because every plant now is mixed with another plant. So you can look at either a kush, or you can either look at
a haze.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So that way there you'll know, because I don't think there's a straight anymore. You know, just a straight Bubba Kush.
Oh no, you know everything has been so crossbreeded and hybridated like now because I've even watched it on shows. Shout out to Burner and Marijuana Mania, the Marijuana Mania show. He has a show there. The very first episode, he's talking about breeding. They're talking about breeding. They're talking about indoor grow. They're talking about outdoor grow. They're talking about the process of it, and it's for a patient, it's good for us to know. I mean, a lot of patients just go in, get what they want, get out, whatever. But then there's patients that really do care about what they're putting into their body. Like they're worried about what's going in because they have an illness. And so get yourself a terpene profile.
Everest started giving those out.
Oh, that's
For
Yeah,
free?
we got these over at Everest. And it's called Know Your
You
Terpenes.
can have those out.
This is from Everest Apothecary down there. I got this at the South Valley location. And on here, it says Everest Apothecary has developed a wide range of experience and effects through cannabis, which a lot of people in the cannabis community have. Easy Wave Effects category helps you better understand the terpene profile. So you can pick this up at Everest, and on there it has all the terpenes. It has the aroma that you find in the terpene. It has the effect of the terpene. It has where you'll find these terpenes, as such in what fruits, what plants, vegetables, things like that. And it also has the benefit of the terpene on there. So when we mention things like myrcene, myrcene has an aroma to it that is very earthy, herbal, and like kind of clovey. The effects of it are muscle relaxing, an elevated mood, and sedative. You can find them inside of mangoes, lemongrass, hops, and it's good for inflammation, insomnia, muscle spasms, and pain relief. So definitely, myrcene is something I would be personally looking for as far as inflammation and muscle spasm and pain relief.
Well, that's why people were freaking out when they say you eat a mango 30 minutes before you smoke and it intensifies your high.
Yeah,
That's because of the myrcene. In the mango, it's already working on your nerves. So when your nerves are going like this, beating on that brain, you eat the mango, the myrcene is already doing this. So when you smoke the cannabis that has more myrcene in it, it calms it down even more.
Yeah.
So you're going,
it's almost like an enhanced, like we have natural cannabinoid receptors in our body. So when you take in CBD, it enhances those. So pretty much kind of the same deal with your terpenes and with your fruits and your cannabis.
yes.
So see, that's good to know too, because let's say you go get an edible, from one of these places, and the edible is like a lemon square. That helps enhance whatever that terpene profile is in there too.
Most
right?
definitely.
Awesome.
Most definitely.
And that would be limonene, right?
Yes. And that one of my favorites is Rex's Lemon Squares.
Yeah.
Because it hits me better than the hard candy or anything else.
I had a lemon square one time. I had picked up at a sesh, and son of a bitch. I knocked the fuck out. I had some good dreams, some wild. I haven't dreamed in a while. I had some dreams, but I did wake up in the middle of the night, dry as a motherfucker. I was like, I felt like that episode of SpongeBob when he came out of the water.
Right. Oh yeah.
But I tell you, it was really good though. So when you do edibles too, keep in mind to stay hydrated. It's very important to stay hydrated. Even when you're smoking cannabis, cannabis can dry you out. The edibles can really dry you out. So
Always.
water is always going to be your friend.
We did I introduced a recipe or a few recipes for book 2 that will be coming out next year.
Yeah.
And nobody realized that avocado makes a wonderful carrier for your THC. So I ate avocado with THC oil in it and spread it on the bread with raw cucumbers, and then did my raw cannabis vinaigrette. So there's your infusion confusion, because you had infused avocado, and then you had the raw with the vinaigrette, and then you had it for the
Sounds like a
sandwich.
bon appetit.
And it kicked our butts.
Yeah.
It really did.
It did the job, right?
Oh,
as
yeah.
far as pain relief
Oh, yeah.
and calming the mind and.
It did it too much, basically. I mean, there was a couple people that came and tried it out for me that called me the next day and said that they were still highly medicated.
Oh yeah, and Yes, that's why you got to take things in moderation.
Carriers.
Yeah.
There's different
the
carriers
carriers.
that work with other people differently. So it's not just coconut oil. You know, there's other fat as carriers. You can put your RSO on peanut butter. You can put it on avocado.
Yeah, and
you
I've
can
been
even
told that
mix it with
too.
Yogurt. It's just different carriers.
A lot of people have told me too when you take your edibles or whatever, to take peanut butter along with
Take
it.
something like fatty.
Yeah, take something that it's thick.
Avocado.
They say take it on an empty stomach and then take something like that.
I figured
Yeah.
it's going to carry very well.
I figured I had enough. But
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Just
my weight been coming and going.
RSO, because but no, it does. It binds
Yeah.
to the fat, and it has to
And
travel
processes
where
and
it
carries
needs to
and-
go. Yes.
And that's really cool. And see, that's like on here. There's certain things that like carry like a fat to it. Like doesn't nutmeg kind of carry like a fat, like a oil to it or something like that that can carry?
The fresh nutmeg
Yeah.
would, because of the. I mean, it depends on how much and how well you do it. Because I'm sure any oily, nutty substance would
Is gonna carry.
it.
Yeah. So that's again that stuff like I don't know how to say this name here.
Delta 8 carrying.
I don't know how to say it with that.
Ooh, me neither.
Yeah, that's a good one, right?
Well, here, this is what I do.
Google will tell us, right?
Terpenol, isn't it?
Terpenoline, and farnesene. I don't know. Some of these.
Yeah, so what I do
terpenes
when
are
I
very
cannot pronounce them is I go on Google
Yeah.
or just spell it in there and it'll tell you how to pronounce
or read
it.
it out.
Then-
Yeah, I can't even say it, but
Yeah.
it carries a nutmeg in it, and that's something that else. Nutmeg. It has nutmeg.
And then, so
And apples and stuff like that.
nutmeg is part of allspice. And allspice actually has a terpene called Delta 8 carrine,
Okay.
which is good for bone health and osteoporosis and stuff like that. But if you get that terpene, it's got like flammable on the bottle, so it scares a lot of people because it's what they use to make turpentine.
Yeah.
But if you know what you're doing and you know just how little to use, you notice I said just how little to
You
use.
can make it just
then,
right.
then it's very, very beneficial.
Yeah.
I mean, because you'd have to eat a lot of allspice to get what you're going to get. I mean, you'd have to eat a bunch of lemon pills to get a drop of limonene. You should go on YouTube and watch the extraction
Okay.
of limonene. It takes so much
It's not as
lemon
simple as a
matter
lot of
to
people
get
think.
just a little bit of the limonene out of it.
Really.
So, you'd have to eat like we used to before they started farming animals, and
Making fast food joints.
yes, you'd have to eat off the land
Yeah.
in order to get all your terpenes and all your vitamin D and everything.
That's what my
that
pops
you
taught me
need.
too. Is he's kind of raised like a farm style thing. And he's like you don't let nothing go to waste. Like this entire lemon would be good. Or this entire orange, you could eat the peel, you could eat the orange, or even the apple. You could do something with the core and all that.
If you would ever go to Abuela's house or grandma on the reservation and you go up there and you look at their windowsills and they've got these bottles of alcohol with all these different stems that plants and stuff in them, all they're doing is extracting the terpenes.
That's what's it.
But they didn't know that they were extracting terpenes. They just knew that if they put bay leaf and cinnamon in this bottle of alcohol and let it sit for 6 months,
Yeah.
when they did a shot, their cough went away. Or, if they did that.
Now that you mention that makes a lot of sense. Like my great grandmother's house, I've seen stuff like that, so it makes sense.
And then oils, you'll see oils with bay leaves and olives and stuff in it. They're extracting the terpenes for the flavor.
Yeah, that's funny you mention that. I always wondered why my grandfather would put stuff up like that. What is that? Why do you have that in that jar? Like,
We had a neighbor, he would do that with his cannabis and alcohol for his knees.
yeah, I know about the cannabis and alcohol. Yeah, soaking it in there and doing all that.
So way back when,
These are just those natural, those traditional
Yes,
remedies,
yes.
those home remedies, I guess.
Homeopathic.
What'd you call me? What'd you call me? What'd you guys call me?
homeopathic.
Well,
But some people can get carried away and
The balance.
think that there is no room for Western medicine and with their natural healing,
yeah.
and you gotta lighten up on that. Big pharma. Okay, yeah, but there is room.
They suck,
for-
but
for
they're there for a reason.
Yeah, there's some that you
So-
just.
I agree because I myself, I'm not 100% 100 on medical cannabis, so I don't want anybody to get the wrong idea or stigma from me either. I still do, because of my health conditions and the disease that I have, I still do have to use some of my pharmaceutical medications to take care of myself. I have a port in my body where I get infusions through here. I have medications that I have to take on side of that for the side effects of all the shit that I have to go through, as well as managing the pain management of my condition. So I wish that I could say cannabis is 100% taking care of a lot of things, but every now and then, there's certain medications that you do have to take. I mean, some of us still have to take heart medications. Some of us still have to take blood pressure medications. Some of us still have to take blood thinners. There's other medications out there that you do need to take for certain reasons. So it's not 100% cannabis, 100% pharmaceutical. There's a balance, and just like with anything else, it's always in moderation. I can't emphasize that enough, because the less that you do things in moderation, the more you're gonna fuck yourself up. Whether it be sitting out in the sun too long, smoking too much. You can overindulge in cannabis easily.
Oh, yeah.
You definitely can. So you have to do that in moderation. You have to do taking your prescription pill. You have to do that in moderation. You're gonna find yourself dead, getting your stomach pumped.
And there are cannabis-friendly doctors out there that help with patients who are dealing with cancer. So you
Yeah.
don't have to go into one of these groups that are very well-meaning people, but also very misleading. And there's links, and there are doctors out there who do know how to use cannabis and chemotherapy together to make it a good marriage.
I go to the New Mexico Cancer Center. That's where I get my infusions. They actually host, Cannabis 101 classes there now, which I'm very proud of, because 10 years ago, when I started being a patient there, over 10 years ago, it's been like 12, 13 years now, since I started being a patient there, years ago, they would laugh at me for that. I mean, they told me, they would just be like, dude, you smell like weed, you smell like pot, what are you doing getting high? And they were giving me pain pills. But now the table is turned, and they're like, Matthew, how's this cannabis working for you? What has it done? How's it got you off your pills? And I'm telling my doctors about cannabis. I'm educating my doctors about my experience. And it's beautiful to see this stigma changing from what it was 12, 13 years ago, to where, here, take a morphine pill, to stay away from cannabis, to, hey, take a cannabis and get off morphine. And that's great. It's great, and I love it. I love to see a cancer center be able to work with patients like that, and I would like to see a lot more of that going on with regular primary doctors. Because you go to a primary doctor, and your primary doctor is still telling you, how's that working for you? Okay, well, here's this, try this.
I found a primary doctor that a lot of people don't like when I tell them to go to her and they're seeking pharmaceuticals, because her answer is, have you tried CBD?
Yeah.
Have you tried CBD? And with me and Rex, when we go in there, she'll look at Rex and he'll go, she'll go, well,
where's your CBD?
And just kind of point to me. And with me anymore, when I go in, it's not, okay, this is, she walks in and looks at me and says, okay, what do you think we need to do? Well, you're the doctor, but you always tell me, so what do you think we need to do? So
I went and paid a visit to Mike Wallace at 420 Connect yesterday. Great guy. And I have just a little shout out for everybody. We got something coming up with them too. And I got to talk with Mike a little bit yesterday. Shout out to Mike, really great guy. The way he started, and it wasn't that long ago. It's only been about 4 years, and he started because he worked at Press as pain and spine specialist.
Yes.
And he saw patients going in there, and he saw the results of the difference between cannabis patients and prescription pill patients. So he started a part-time, just like a 1 day a week little practice where he was helping people to kind of get their cards. And next thing you know, it turned into what he has going on, to what him and Naomi have going on today. And
I was there to watch their empire begin.
it's so beautiful. It's awesome. I got to talk with him yesterday, and it's so cool to see because he himself was not a cannabis patient because he was a pain and spine specialist, so he couldn't medicate with cannabis. But when he left there, he got on cannabis, and he was able to vouch about how it's worked for him. He's able to vouch about all the patients he's been able to help. And he said since he started doing this whole thing with 420 Connect, he has written 0 prescriptions for opiate prescription medication. 0 in 4 years. That's awesome. Almost 100% of his patients come back and tell him, I'm off psych meds, I'm off pain meds. You know, and I like Mike because of his background, and he's also a veteran, and so he understands that there's vets that can get cannabis because they're getting VA treatment. It's federal.
Yes.
So like stuff like that is part of the battle that we constantly, that all of us, you, I,
Oh yeah.
the Wallaces, that we all fight for.
Most definitely.
So that's why I like you said, a doctor like that's going to tell you, hey, cannabis is going to benefit you.
Yes.
And that's why I think we need more primary physicians.
Yes.
More primary physicians need to be that way. But
I'm very fortunate to have the primary that I have. Because I went to the Indian hospital for a long time. And my therapist or psychiatrist, her and I got into a little tiff.
Yeah.
Because she was like, I'm not going to give you Xanax or anything.
Your psychiatrist was really upset with you because you weren't barking up that you wanted Xanax or anything like that.
Yeah, I wanted to continue using the cannabis.
Yeah.
For it to calm the mind, so we could work on getting me tools that I could use to live a normal everyday life.
Yeah.
And she wanted to blame it all on the cannabis until 2 years down the line, she knew I was still using cannabis.
And you're coming off your medication.
I got off 25 of the 28 pharmaceuticals that they had me on.
That's a lot of medication to put into your body.
Oh yeah. And then I lost over about 150 pounds when she retired, and was out looking for work and walking on a daily basis and interacting with people, and she actually had to wipe the egg off her face and say, I can't see where cannabis was the problem. When you first walked through the door, I had it in my mind that cannabis was all of your problems.
And it's also because you're a pothead that you have all these issues.
Yeah, exactly. And she had to sound, I'm sorry.
I had my counselor at one point in time too. I told her, I have a lot of PTSD. So I have a lot of things that I battle with in my own head, at certain times and stuff. So I was talking to my counselor one day, and I was explaining to her about how I basically, how do I say it, I was hearing deceased family members kind of thing, somebody was there communicating with me. So she did some research because she knows that I'm a heavy cannabis user. And she was like, well, I did some research, and it says that, when you use a heavy amount of cannabis or whatever, that you can have hallucinogen episodes and hear things and this and that. She's like, do you feel like that's what's going on? And I'm like, no. I'm stoned off my ass, chilling or whatever, but no, I ain't tripping. I'm not taking psychedelics. I'm not on mushrooms.
This isn't how high when you see the elves jump out of the
this isn't it's not a movie. No, I'm maybe in my own head. Maybe I thought I heard something then. I can see that. Getting so into your own head that you think you hear something, but when you hear something, you hear it.
Yeah.
When you hear a voice, You're like, what the fuck? And I looked at my weed too, am I? No, that's never happened. And so it's like, can't be. And so she's like, oh, I just wanted to just throw it out there and make sure. And I'm like, well, let's move on past that because that's not what it is. And I think what it was PTSD triggers.
Yes,
is what it was. I was getting triggers, and had it not been for my cannabis, I think I would have fed it into my triggers and had a bad night that night. So I think the cannabis definitely kept me calm because it kept me more
Right.
Like then I kind of forgot about PTSD because it was like, whoa, am I smoking enough? Like,
Yes.
so I feel like the cannabis kind of helped in that matter.
My mom saw the difference when I was 16 and started smoking. So
Yeah.
I've been illegally healing myself since 16.
We talked about that 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So,
That's kind of like how you got started, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I just my sisters were all partying. They were older than me, and so one of them told me to check it out, and I took a hit and realized that
It chilled you out.
it calmed the stomach, because my stomach has always been in knots when I was a little kid, always, and it stems from something that happened when I was 5. And so when I started smoking, I knew it kept me calm. I didn't want to throat punch people. I was able to talk and go out and interact with people. And my mom just would tell everybody she treats it like a medicine. She doesn't treat it like the
Whenever
other
you got
girls did.
uncomfortable or anxiety, you would just go ahead and take a break.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
And then come back and you're social butterfly again.
Yeah. And it got to the point where she would even go out and buy me the weed. She didn't like it. She didn't like the smell, or she didn't.
But
really,
she knew that it made you feel
Yeah.
better. And that's that's the cool part about it, is that she was very open and accepting to that.
Mm-hmm.
That you weren't doing this just to have a good time. You know, like my pops, God rest his soul, that when I first started, medicating with cannabis, at first it was kind of like, hey, let me try it out, and oh well, this is kind of fun. But then it turned into like, dude, like I smoked a lot by myself in high school. I didn't really socially smoke with anybody. I didn't party or anything like that. I smoked a lot by myself, and because it calmed me down from school, dealing with assholes and dealing with other shit and teachers and just doing puberty.
Yeah.
Puberty's a bitch, and I think that kids nowadays should be allowed to take CBD and THC to get through that shit.
Oh,
Because it's a pain in the ass. And so when I smoked cannabis to just try it, I saw that I was like, man, this kind of chill me out. Like, this calm me down. It's my mind's not racing. I'm not worried. I'm not scared. So. But then as I got older, my pops thought, in like 18, 19, 20, he's like, oh, you're doing it to get high. You're just having a good time. It stinks. It's disgusting. You're going to ruin your life. You're not going to amount to nothing. You're never going to get a good job. Blah, 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 blah. And because he didn't do cannabis. But I'm like, well, man, you haven't put that fucking beer can down since the day I was born.
Yeah, see, I found other stuff to ruin my life and destroy my liver and kidney and just make me hit bottoms. So it wasn't the cannabis.
Yeah,
like,
it was other stuff like
yeah.
alcohol and prescription pain medications.
Most definitely.
Even overindulging in certain foods.
Mm-hmm.
That's reckless.
Oh my
to
gosh.
your body. Yeah, and I did it to myself for a long time. I would go to Wendy's and get the triples like 3 times a day. So,
I've got the worst sugar addiction.
You and me both.
Sugar addiction.
I quit sodas, right? But I drink tea by the gallons. So did I really quit the sugar?
I actually started doing the chia teas, CHIA, and they have different flavors.
No,
So
really?
the one that I'm doing is just the natural one, and it has a cinnamon flavor. So you don't need any sugar or anything.
She has my wife has a natural sweetener. It's like almost like a honey.
It's agave nectar, the blue agave nectar.
Yeah, and it's a sweetener, and it's supposed to be just like sugar. I tried using it. It's not,
Just the sugar.
to me, nothing is sugar.
Yeah, I have to. The warden, I call Rex the candy warden. I'll get, because I will. It's literally weaning yourself off of a drug.
Yeah.
Because I get the shakes, headache, cranky, and so it's like, so Rex, I'll have something over there that I know I can't overindulge, like hot tamales, because they'll start burning your tongue if you eat more than a serving size.
Yeah.
So I'll take out 5, hand him the box, and he puts it up, and then I'll do that, and then because it can get crazy.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like even with kids, man, I tell them all the time, stop eating so much Takis. Burn a hole in your stomach. And my daughter actually did once. She got a real bad stomach issue going on because she ate that shit all day.
This one here helped me actually with my hunger and weight loss.
And
We're
that's
talking
humulene?
humulene, yeah. Our daytime tincture, when we had it out, had humulene in it, and it gives you energy and keeps you going and
Keeps you focused.
lets you focus.
Yeah.
And get going, and you mix that with. I liked it with the 500 milligrams of CBD.
Okay.
If you did 1,000, it kind of counteracts it.
Oh yeah.
Because 1,000 milligrams
it'll bring you down.
Yeah, and then the humulene
Is it bringing you
works
down?
the opposite.
Yeah.
Which, like I said, it's all.
That's funny. I've been told that about CBD. That if you take too much THC, you can take a little bit of CBD and it'll bring you back down.
But you'd have to take a lot.
Like, yeah,
1,000
that's what I've been told.
milligrams.
It's like if you take too much THC and you hit that THC barrier where you're crashing, you take some CBD and it'll wake you back up. And there's also some that they say, well, if you take a little bit of CBD with your when you're doing cannabis, that it'll help enhance it. But you can't do too much, because then you're not gonna feel your THC.
Yeah, and it's all about the way it works through the bloodstream in the liver.
Okay.
You know,
the way it processes.
Yeah, it's no different than I wouldn't do a big old dab of pure THC and then grab a bottle of 1,000 milligram tincture and do the tincture and expect that to calm me down.
Yeah.
Because the THC has already overpowered the CBD. You wait about 30 minutes and then take the CBD. It has time to work through the bloodstream because the THC's already gone through the liver and has done what it needs to do.
See, now that's good to know.
It's all timing and medication as well. If you're taking a medicine that says do not take with grapefruit, then don't take it with cannabis. So take that. The same reason it won't break down in the liver in the bloodstream the right way. It can either make it work quicker or faster. So if you have like a time release blood pressure medicine, and it says don't take with grapefruit juice, and you take that with your RSO, and it hits your stomach at the same time, chances are it could make the blood pressure medicine work faster and go through your system quicker and make your blood pressure drop lower, or it can stop it as a beta blocker almost and keep it from working
at all
altogether.
See, so that's
why you have to be honest with your doctor.
That's good information to know for patients. Yeah. Oh yeah. Be honest with your doctor. Fuck them.
Yeah, because some of the doctors don't even know.
And for other patients out there that I know that are like trying to use cannabis to get off of hardcore drugs like heroin and meth and methadone and stuff like that, tell your doctors that's what you're using. Just straight up be like, you know what, doc, I'm on meth and I'm using cannabis. Should help me get off it. You know, you have to let your doctors know what's going on. Don't feel ashamed or that you're gonna be judged or whatever. You know, just do what you got to do to get better, and that's all that fucking matters.
You know, studies are showing that this terpene right here is helping people with opiate addiction.
And this is called linalool.
Linalool.
So linalool, floral citrus. Terpenes are a group of fragrant essential oils. That explains what terpenes are. Let's see. So this one here is commonly found in lavender. And I love lavender. And spices. Lemon is also a critical component for production of vitamin E, relaxation, and stress relief. And typical rich strains known to carry anti-anxiety and anti-inflammatory properties. Can also deal with insomnia and sedative nature. Has a calming effect on the body and mind, acts as a potent muscle relaxer, and possible antidepressant and antipsychotic. So anxiety, convulsions, depression, and stress, which is actually something all people taking drugs really go through.
Yeah.
So
that one helped me personally.
That's really good to know. Kind of go through the roller coaster, right?
Yes.
So that's good to know. That's nice. Miss Teddi, I know, like, also I know you did a lot of baking and cooking and stuff too. You got your book on you that we can show everybody real quick?
Now this one is just it's called Juicing with Cannabis and More, and the only reason is because most people, in order to keep their cannabis raw, you can't keep it if you pick it and put it in the freezer, it's gonna lose some of its enzymes.
So it loses potency.
So if you pick it and then juice it and freeze it, it doesn't lose any enzymes, and you can keep it
You
for
reserve
about
them.
6 months. It'll last for about 6 months. So that's why the juicy lady. A lot of these recipes don't even. They're all solid.
Yeah.
You know, and there's just one part that's smoothies and liquid. You know, a lot of them are like jalapeno poppers and pineapple upside down cake. Just
Yeah.
a bunch of different stuff. Now, this book was written to get people to enjoy and to like their raw cannabis. The second book is more for them to get their edibles in a healthy form instead of a bunch of sugar. We will
I
have
like
no refined sugar. We're going to have meals
Yeah.
in there. One of my favorites is a stuffed salmon. The
Chicken.
stuffed salmon that's in there, it's really, really good. And then it's all just going to be really healthy. Some of them are going to be.
But the
really
good thing about the
good
book is
meals.
it's combined not just with raw, but with
the oil,
can-
I'll give you a recipe for how to infuse oil,
Okay.
and you'll have a choice between olive oil, coconut oil, or avocado oil, because those are the three.
That carry.
And they're healthier
Okay.
than just fat.
Yeah.
So we'll have those, and then no dairy products. It'll all have like almond milk or coconut milk if you are using milk.
Everything that's good for inflammation, basically.
Yes. And there is going to be protein because I am a big fan of protein.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So
definitely.
you know, but it's gonna have all kinds of different desserts and healthy meals,
Yeah.
and then some snacks, and then we'll throw in a few smoothies. But smoothies are so overrated because people don't realize, and I'm diabetic,
Yeah.
that you throw in an apple, 2 carrots, stalk of celery, a pear. You've already got 4 servings of vegetables or fruits, and it's all condensed sugar. So I'm trying to break away from smoothies and get into small, healthy, infused meals and
Yeah.
snacks for everybody to be able to do.
She hears the dogs barking outside. Yeah. That's
So I am
that's a good one in the
featuring,
background, growling back there.
We're featuring cannabis, one of my raw cannabis
Okay.
recipes at this Fatty Tuesday Canagrog.
Fatty Tuesday
Check it
Canagrog.
out.
All right. So let's see here. So Miss Teddi.
Did I get you out of there?
Nope, you're good.
Okay.
So on February 25th, Fatty Tuesday Canagrog. So let's see what the detail is here. Let's see, Loud Magazine brings you Fatty Tuesday Canagrog, presented by Boutique Botanicals, Dealers and Street Money Tuesday, February 25th at the Borealis Event Center. Hosted by Danny Golden, music by DJ Stigmata, fashion show by Dealers Clothing and Street Money Clothing, comedy by David Montoya, Shodan Sierra, Josh, let me open this up here. Josh Fournier and Buck D. Performances by M. Scott Love Style, The Known Juan Gambino, Fat Lee, and Lucky, aka the NM Plug. Let's see, entry is $50, includes a gift bag and infused dinner. $75 day off VIP tables, $200 for 5 people. Vendors $250, it's 2 tickets. VIP plus vendor combo $400, tables for 5 and 3 tickets, including gift bags and infused dinner. So I don't know if I said a lot of that very clear for you, but you guys could go onto Facebook, look up Fatty Tuesday Canagrog, right?
Yes.
And check that out. That's on February 25th, and that's hosted by Loud Cloud Magazine.
Oh, and if anybody knows Gina, they know that the gift bags are going to be rocking. I don't even know what's in the gift bag, but I know Gina does awesome gift bags. So there'll be some CBD products and some other
I
stuff.
want to check
in
that
there.
shit out right there.
Your infused dinner sounds amazing.
Right, it's gonna be. I think it's gonna
It's
be.
gonna be
Good.
buzz.
So we're the raw cannabis raspberry vinaigrette is going to be there for drizzle over whatever else someone else is making. So
That's gonna be so
I'm kinda,
good.
I'm kind of excited.
I'm excited. I definitely want to check that out.
7 to 10.
will be available after 7:30. So yeah. We'll see if we can check that thing out.
Right.
Well, Miss Teddy, I'm so glad we got to do this
I
this
know.
interview again. I feel like we really covered a
lot.
lot. Yeah,
Yeah,
we
we did.
really did. I mean, this I don't even really feel like I really need to do any editing just because I feel like you would lose information if you did. So it's like I might just keep this as part of that raw footage kind of deal.
Yeah, since Miss Teddy's keeping it raw.
Yeah, right, exactly. Miss Teddy's keeping it raw. Might as well make it raw footage, right? So, Miss Teddy, thank you for coming and hanging out with us today and coming back to Matthew My Real Life TV 505 for another episode.
Thank you for having me.
And I really look forward to the future with you. I mean, I know you and I are gonna, and Natasha are all gonna be hanging out a lot more. So,
Oh yeah, we got plans.
Oh yeah, definitely looking forward to book number 2. Natasha and I will be cooking up in our kitchen as well because we'll be having some Natasha episodes called "Getting Baked While Baking with Natasha." We also have something called it's going to be called Natasha's Kitchen, something like that, another little special segment. But a lot to come, and then Miss Teddy has big plans for her future too. So keep a watch out on YouTube. Keep a watch out on our pages because you guys are about to learn some shit. So again, thank you, Miss Teddy.
Thank you so much.
We appreciate you. And that's it from Matthew My Real Life TV 505. We'll see you guys at the next episode. Peace.